Nathaniel Moran, a new member of the Ways and Means Committee, new member of the subcommittee from East Texas. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look forward to being part of the subcommittee and the full Ways and Means Committee this next session. I've got a number of questions based on the testimony that's been given here today. I wanted to, and I prepared to talk about foreign adversaries and their role in the unemployment insurance fraud issue. But let me start with this, Mr. Talcove. I think you said this earlier. Your quote was, "It's the same groups running the same playbook, stealing at scale." And you even gave some examples of after certain disasters. And you said we need to use data and analytics to effectively prevent some of this. I want you to go back, though, because your three recommendations were apply ID verification at the front end, end self-certification, and continuously authenticate beneficiaries. And I love that because it really is front-end oriented. But be more specific when you talk about applying ID verification. I mean, how onerous would this be, or what kind of verification are we talking about to be able to make sure that before the money goes out, because I agree with you, and I'll come back around to this in a second, once it goes out, it is so hard to get back. So we need to make sure that every dollar that goes out is the appropriate dollar. How do we just do some simple ID verification on the front end?
It happens every single day. Every single one of you goes through that identity verification process when you go to your bank, when you use Amazon, when you go online to do e-commerce. And the great thing about the technology today is you don't even know it's happening, right? Think about it. You're at the gas station, you put your credit card in, and all of a sudden you get a text in your phone, and it says, "Congressman, are you really in Washington, D.C.?" So that technology is used in the private sector every single day. One of my frustrations is government seems to use this thing called NIST 800 63-2, I think. It was created in 2017. It's complicated, it's hard. Nobody in the private sector uses it. So the technology is out there every single day, and we all use it. It's just different in government.
Yeah, and you're making the exact point that I was hoping would be brought out here, is that it's easy. It is not that difficult. In fact, today I got one of those texts from my bank asking me if a particular charge, it's an $85 charge, was in fact me using that charge. All I had to do was respond yes, and we're good to go. So I think there is an easier way, a more effective way for us to stop the fraud on the front end, and certainly it's going to benefit us on the back end, because we've got a number of those cases that are out there that we need to prosecute, but I'm a little bit concerned, I'll just tell you, about the return on investment, the cost-benefit analysis of doing that. What are the size of the claims? And I'll give this to all three of the witnesses, Ms. Hugh, Mr. Fickey, and Mr. Talcove. What's the average size of the claim that we're dealing with once we extend this statute of limitations, if we're able to do that? And what's the cost for actually moving forward to prosecute those claims?
All right. So what I would say is, I wouldn't look at the average size of the claims. I would look at the criminal groups. Some of the groups, the China group, APT 41, Scattered Canary, you're talking literally hundreds of millions of dollars, but you need sophisticated law enforcement at the federal level. Agencies like the Secret Service, who have been outstanding in this area. So it is worth it, but you have to get to these large fraud rings, primarily located overseas.
Yeah, I've got a financial crimes investigation center for the state of Texas located in my hometown of Tyler, and they chase after these groups that do this, and it's the same groups moving about but using the same technologies and the same methodology. Ms. Hugh, you were talking about the stealing of personal identification information on the front end, which gives them the gateway to steal and to create fraud. How are they doing that? How are they obtaining the personal identification information of American citizens?
They just buy it off the dark web. I mean, with all these different data breaches that had happened, it's really kind of open season on the dark web and purchasing legitimate, personally identifiable information. And therefore, you know, you can, at least in Missouri, you can get in perhaps and file a claim, but we do have flags within the application that then clue us into there's something not quite right? And the partnerships both between government agencies and private sector, whether it's a vendor like Mr. Talcove's or association like Mr. Fickey's, it's really important that all the partnerships across the board work together and understand what may be some limitations, but also challenges and opportunities. I think the biggest thing for us to realize, though, is that it's not a one-and-done situation. Like this, If you don't accept that update on your operating system, it's a paperweight, an expensive paperweight, right? So we have to adopt that mentality when it comes to protecting taxpayer dollars that are invested, whether it's a UI trust fund or any other beneficiary fund. We want to make sure the eligible people are getting the benefits.
Yeah, I agree. And Mr. Chairman, I see my time is over. I didn't even get to my foreign adversary questions. I'm part of the China Select Committee. I'll tell you, it's really concerning to me that China is at the forefront of this, of stealing our personal information and then being part of obtaining these dollars from American taxpayers, using it against us. It's a national security issue, in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.